You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, this is crazy, okay? So I'm going to deal with our panel in a second. But let me deal with this. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and deal with this. Do y'all realize at today's news conference, this idiot actually said this about George Floyd? Watch this.
We can't let that happen. Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody.
Today's jobs report was a great day for George Floyd. And hopefully he's looking down on us. Kristen Clark leads the Laws Committee for Civil Rights and Other Laws. She joins us right now. Kristen, clearly, what do you say to such stupidity?
You know, this is a dark, dark moment. We have the President of the United States and Attorney General Barr himself issuing the order to deploy peaceful demonstrators by using force, by using the park police, by using the Secret Service, by firing tear gas, using chemical agents, using batons. People out there were hurt, actually. As people were peacefully assembled in front of St. John's Church, Attorney General Barr issues the order. Those people have to be deployed now. People were shocked. There were kids out there. There were old people out there. There were religious people out there. There were black, white, brown people out there. You had the park police. You had Secret Service. You had the National Guard. It was horrible. And so what we've done at the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law is we've said enough is enough. We know what this is about. We saw this in Selma, Alabama, when peaceful demonstrators were marching across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and they were met with state-sponsored violence when they got on the other side. Here we are in 2020 dealing with the same thing. So last night, we filed a suit in federal district court here in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the D.C. chapter of Black Lives Matter. The case caption is Black Lives Matter D.C. versus Trump. Other named defendants include Attorney General Barr and Esper, and a slew of government officials who violated the Constitution by using state-sanctioned violence to attack peacefully assembled demonstrators. And what we plan to do, as people all across our country are out protesting and demonstrating and expressing grief about the death of George Floyd, crying out for reform, crying out for police reform now, is we're going to stand by them. And we're going to use the courts to make clear that they have a right to be out there. And that right comes from the First Amendment of the Constitution, which says you have the right to free speech and the right to assembly. And here's the interesting thing about President Trump. He believes in the First Amendment. He does. He believes in the First Amendment when you're talking about gun-toting activists who are taking siege of government buildings. He believes in the First Amendment when you're talking about extremists who are trying to go and speak on campuses. He believes in the First Amendment when you're talking about hate mongers in Charlottesville. He believes in the First Amendment when you're talking about churches that are trying to defy state orders to stay home. But he doesn't believe in the First Amendment when people are out talking about racial justice and police violence and issues that he doesn't agree with. And that's not right. It violates the Constitution, and so we're fighting back.
And again, what we're seeing is this use of force, this battle with the D.C. mayor in terms of folks being in the nation's capital. And what we're also seeing is vicious attacks, Christian, by cops all across this country. I mean, I've seen video from Buffalo, Philadelphia, New York, Los Angeles. It is as if the viciousness that we talk about has been unleashed on black folks. White folks are getting beat like crazy out there too. These cops, they are operating as if they have absolutely no, no remorse, nothing. We're just gonna swing away.
Yeah. We, by now, many people have seen the video of the elderly man in Buffalo who was pushed down, bleeding out of his ears and the back of his head. And we now understand that all of the officers have apparently resigned because of discipline that was imposed on the officer who did the pushing. They are standing unified. And here's the thing. That raises one big issue that we're going to have to address as we now engage in this national debate about police reform. What do we do about police unions? And what do we do about the culture inside of police unions and these collective bargaining agreements that are so often an obstacle to reform and so often hamstrung people from putting in place the reforms that you need to transform a police department? We know what we need. We need a ban on chokeholds. We need a ban on racial profiling. We need to create a national database where we can track the misconduct of police officers and make it impossible for them to get purged one day and then rehired the next over here. We need a national standard on use of force. We need to ban the use of federal money to bring in militarized equipment. We know the reforms that are needed, but one big obstacle will be the police reforms. And also, how do we change the culture inside of police departments? So many police officers operate from this warrior mentality. It is a war. Put on your riot gear, get your billy club out, get your tear gas. When actually, if you had a different mentality and saw yourself as a guardian of the people, as a community builder, we wouldn't have the tensions and conflicts that we're seeing. And we saw that last weekend play out. Camden, New Jersey, Flint, Michigan, the officers who chose to march side by side with demonstrators and said, I'm with you, I'm not against you. The dynamics were totally different. And in the places where people came out with their tanks and the riot gear, the tension levels just rose dramatically. It's going to be a long road to reform, but we know what we need to do to get the job done. But for right now, the demonstrators and the protesters are playing an important part because they're shining a bright light on the issue and they're making it impossible for you to turn the channel and move on to something else. This issue is here to stay. It is front and center, and it is not going away. And at the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, we are going to stand up right now for those who are choosing to protest in the streets, exercising their First Amendment rights.
Kristen Clark, Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. We appreciate it. What's the website where people can support the work y'all do?
Please visit www.lawyerscommittee.org. Lawyerscommittee.org. Hit the donate button. Thank you for standing with us.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
With Ceek.com, Ceek.com for partnering with us. This is Mary Spio is the creator, the innovator, the founder of this company. She, of course, designed these 4D 360-degree headphones that are absolutely amazing. We've got a partnership with them, folks. If you purchase these headphones, you can use the promo code RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020. Simply go to Ceek.com. That's Ceek.com. Be sure to check it out. We thank them for partnering with us.